Hey everybody, Jimmy Smith back again. This time doing a preview of this weekend's fights. Not the UFC. The UFC card this weekend, really not very good. But there's more interesting boxing on, so I'm going to talk about that. See if I can make you guys some money. What I'm talking about is Gervonta Davis, of course, fighting this weekend. People don't know Gervonta Davis has been out for a while since knocking out Ryan Garcia. It's a weird layoff. I don't know exactly why, but a long time off, over a year, taking on Frank Martin, undefeated, slick boxer himself. Also David Benavidez, taking on Oleksandr Gvozdyk. That's on the same card. Really good stuff. If you're a fight fan, you got time this weekend, I would suggest boxing over MMA. I'll try to watch both, of course. But I'll be doing a post-fight show for ProBox TV about the boxing event. Go to ProBox TV. Check it out. Our YouTube channel. We do a live, post-fight. You can chat and ask questions, and we answer them, stuff like that. So go to ProBox TV and check that out. But I think the boxing this weekend is more interesting than the MMA, so that's what I'm going to deal with. How can I make you money? That's the difficulty, because both favorites, and in this case, David Benavidez and Gervonta Davis, are huge favorites. And making a straight bet, unless you want to take a wild stab at a big underdog, isn't going to make you any money. Gervonta Davis minus 700, Frank Martin's plus 475. Who's going to win? Probably Gervonta Davis. He's probably the best boxer. Pound for pound, he's probably fourth or fifth on the list right now. Best boxer in the weight class right now. I mean, Loma is there, but I think Loma is a little bit older. There's some real challenges here, but I don't think Frank Martin's going to be enough. Now, where can you make money? Before I get into that, Gervonta Davis, very explosive, southpaw, real knockout power. And it was so funny leading up to his fight with Ryan Garcia. It was like, the speed of Ryan Garcia. And I was like, dude, Gervonta Davis, I called a lot of his fights in PBC when he was just getting started. He's not slow. He's real quick. So quick, powerful. He's about 5'5", a little tiny Mike Tyson kind of. But real speed, goes in and out extremely well, works the body very, very well, has a great uppercut. He's just really tough, really well-rounded. He has some problems if he can't put physical pressure on you. I think that's a big part of this fight. Frank Martin is undefeated as well, also a southpaw. Fast, he's quick, he's a good counterpuncher. He isn't as aggressive necessarily as Gervonta Davis, and he doesn't have the power of Gervonta Davis. So the only way to beat Gervonta, and he has fallen behind on certain scorecards, most notably against Pitbull Cruz, fell behind there because, like a lot of pressure fighters, if you put pressure on him and you stay tight and you make him operate off his back foot, he is a good counterpuncher, but if you crowd him and don't give him room to operate, he doesn't function as well. He really doesn't. That's easier said than done, of course. But if Martin can basically put on the pressure and outbox him using combinations, once again, easier said than done, he can maybe win rounds and win the fight. I don't see him hurting Gervonta Davis or putting him down unless Gervonta Davis really does something stupid. But that being said, Gervonta Davis does, because of his size, he's real stocky, he's real short, he does tend to explode into his offense, meaning bing, 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 boom. And he covers a lot of range very, very quickly. If you catch him on the way in, you can put him down. So the nature of his style means he has to take certain risks at certain times. And he's generally very, very good at that. He has great instincts, meaning it isn't all about the science. He seems to know when his opponent is going to attack and retreat, and he seems to be able to put pressure on him no matter what. We saw that in Ryan Garcia, in the fight against Ryan Garcia. As soon as Ryan Garcia started having some success, boom, Gervonta Davis was able to put him down, and then obviously dropped him and finished him with a body shot. So he has the ability to read weakness that is hard to teach, and the guy has it in spades. So that's basically the deal. If Martin can put pressure on him and outbox him and win rounds, maybe he can win. Now, he's the A side. He's the guy making money. So even if he outboxes Gervonta Davis, he's going to have trouble getting a decision, to be honest with you. So he has to walk a real tightrope, which is why all the odds makers believe that Gervonta Davis is going to do it, simply because Frank Martin has to be really, really careful to win. So where can I make you money? Not necessarily in the straight-up bet itself. Also, the over-under, and I'm looking at DraftKings, over 9.5 is minus 125. Under 9.5 is minus 110. So there isn't one way to go with the over-under that makes any sense. It's going to make any money either. But what I saw here that I could not believe is the odds on specific ways to win or specific things within the fight I thought were pretty skewed. One of them is either fighter to be knocked down in rounds 1 through 6. You can get plus 140. That's on either fighter. Is it likely that Gervonta Davis gets knocked down? Probably not. But at plus 140, the idea that Frank Martin in his first big fight comes out a little stiff and gets dropped in the first 6 rounds, I think it's a great bet at plus 140. And once again, if it's either fighter for plus 140, sure, maybe Gervonta Davis, once again, leaps at the wrong time and takes a shot. But I love a knockdown, either fighter, in the first 6 rounds at plus 140. You got to take that for sure. Also, Martin to be knocked down 2+ times is plus 175. Remember, once again, I'm going back to Ryan Garcia. He was dropped twice. A lot of fighters are dropped multiple times if you get a stoppage. Now, Gervonta Davis has one-shot power. He can put you down once, and then that's it. You're looking at the stars. But plenty of times he's had to knock fighters down multiple times to finish them. And so that's a good bet at plus 175. So what it is whenever you look at a fighter who's heavily favored to win, you start breaking down how they might win. A lot of times you get really good odds. Meaning, Gervonta Davis is a huge favorite. So the idea that he gets a knockdown in the first 6 rounds is pretty good. The idea that he knocks his opponent down multiple times, that's a pretty good one too. So both of those bets, plus 140 and plus 175 respectively, I think those are really great bets. Really great bets. So those would be the ones I would pick when I'm looking at ways to win. So, what else we have? A lot of these are pretty skewed. I'm trying to see what it is for Gervonta Davis by decision. Let me see here. Here it is. Gervonta by KO, TKO, DQ is minus 180. That makes sense. Gervonta Davis by decision is plus 260. So you could say, obviously it'd be a tough parlay because you're betting against knockdown or you're betting on a decision, but a decision at plus 260 I think makes a lot of sense. Simply because he's taking on a slick boxer, and his power is, I think it's going to be a factor. That's why I'm betting knockdowns, but plus 260, that's worth a side bet to me for Gervonta Davis to win by decision. So, and also Gervonta Davis by KO, TKO, or DQ minus 180, 2-to-1's pretty good odds. I like that as well, which is kind of funny to me. I think, for such a heavy favorite, you imagine him winning by knockout would be minus 300 or something like that. It's not. It's minus 180. So the decision method, I think, depending on, both give you really good odds. But I like the knockdown odds a little bit better. So that's my pick. Gervonta Davis wins it, but I would definitely say a knockdown in the first 1 through 6 rounds, first half of the fight, plus 140 is a good bet. Martin to be knocked down 2+ times, that's a good bet at plus 175. So there you go. Now, David Benavidez versus Oleksandr Gvozdyk. The interesting one when I look at this, and there aren't as many prop bets with this one, if you look at DraftKings, it's pretty much the outcome and which round he beats him in. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Which round is kind of random. The thing is that David Benavidez is coming up for 168 pounds to 175. He's going up to light heavyweight. So he's going up to a new weight class. I don't think that's going to, I think he's going to do very well at the weight class. It might affect his punching power. And I think that's one of the things that people tend to underestimate when they move weight classes is they move up and go, I'm going to be the same guy. You have to hit a lot harder to knock guys down at 175 than you do at 168. 7 pounds is a lot. And notice in MMA all the time, fighters move, and if you're a power puncher, and I say this all the time, power punchers don't move weight classes as well as accurate guys and combination punchers, because that one-shot power, in my example a lot of times is Robbie Lawler at 185, didn't knock guys out like he did at 170. Those guys were heavier, they were bigger, they could take the big punch and still be okay. Now, obviously, it's less weight. It's only 7 pounds. But still, that's what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at the odds. Gvozdyk has only lost to Artur Beterbiev, who hits like you stole something from him. I think he's the top light heavyweight in the world right now. He's incredible. And that's his one loss. Got knocked out after a decent performance. But that's what I'm looking at here, because Benavidez, by decision or technical decision, is once again plus 280. I think he has trouble with Gvozdyk, who is naturally big, who's a decent boxer. What I think the odds makers are looking at is, apparently they used to spar together, and Benavidez had his way with Gvozdyk. I get that. There's a world difference between sparring and actually fighting. And while I think he retains a lot of his power, if you're looking for a good bet here, David Benavidez by decision at plus 280, almost 3-to-1 odds that this one goes the distance. A guy who's only lost once, and that one loss is to the hardest puncher in the light heavyweight division. I like that a lot. So my pick is David Benavidez. Want to make some money? Take David Benavidez by decision. Because once again, by TKO, it's almost 2-to-1. But by decision, you get almost 3-1 odds on DraftKings, which I think is absolutely incredible. So that's my pick, is David Benavidez wins it. I think he wins it probably by decision, where you can make some real money. So, boxing this weekend, that's how you make some money. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll be back Monday to talk about what I got right and what I got wrong.